Welcome everyone. Today I bring you an update on the complete physical and magical damage calculations for Abyss 1 in Watcher of Realms. I will also cover the defense and magic resistance of the boss. Having an accurate damage formula is essential for understanding how to properly gear our heroes to balance the stats. I hope to provide more calculations for this in the future. Finding the correct damage formula for Abyss 1 wouldn't have been possible without the help of Ian, who supported me with extensive testing. Therefore, a huge thanks to him. For those who don't know, the boss in Abyss 1 switches damage vulnerabilities after each shield phase. He starts by being vulnerable to physical damage, and any magical damage is reduced to 10 points. After the shield is broken, he turns golden and becomes vulnerable to magical damage. Also, all physical damage he takes is reduced to 10 points during this phase. To get into the magic vulnerability phase of this fight, we had to use a variety of buffs and other modifiers. This means the observed damage values needed to be corrected, so the final damage formula would be universally applicable. Calculating the unmodified universal damage formula based on 100% damage for each tested attack value took a significant amount of time. If you appreciate this work, I would be grateful if you could like this video in the end. Let's start now with the physical damage formula. As you may recall, I previously proposed two different formulas. Due to a lack of data, I could only guess which one was the correct one, because I didn't have a hero with whom I could test the formula sufficiently. Now that I have Kineza fully promoted, I have a hero who deals physical damage and can reach attack values above 24,000. This was finally enough to prove one of the formulas right. Just like before, I equipped Kineza with different gear sets to achieve various attack values. I then added a Pantheon attack value on top and hit the boss a few times, making sure to get damage values before she gained Chi, because gaining Chi would increase her damage because of the damage penetration she gets from it. In this graph you can see the test data from my current test in dark blue. The bright green dots are from my previous test, where my attack was still too low to overcome the boss defense. The red line is the calculated damage formula, where I assumed a slope of 0.7 is used in every damage calculation, no matter the difficulty. The dark green line comes from my previous calculations, where I assumed a defense of around 9000, which I had calculated from the defense reduction debuff. Here we can see that the assumption of the boss defense around 9000 in Abyss 1 was correct. I also confirmed this value again by gearing Astrid with more attack and retesting the damage increase from her defense reduction. It appears the devs reduced the effectiveness factor in front of the attack for Abyss 1. From 0.7 to 0.6, while increasing the defense to around 9000. This might influence how much attack versus critical damage we need to stack in Abyss 1 and future content, as these values seem to be seen as adjustable by the devs. With the physical damage formula for Abyss 1 finally confirmed, let's discuss the magic damage formula now. As I mentioned in the start, figuring out the magic damage formula took a bit more work. I had to adjust my calculations several times because they fell off, which was caused by all the damage modifiers applied during the fight. I spent most of the time reading through ability descriptions to make sure I got everything right. All the applied modifiers likely caused some rounding issues, by which the damage gains from magic resistance penetration from Nastia's faction buff were off by around 400 points at first. Thanks to Ian, who did another test on his account, we were able to get the exact magic resistance independently from the damage calculation formula, and confirm that our magic damage formula is correct. We tested the damage formula with Kalina. The damage modifiers we had to account for were the 10% increased magical damage on her basic attacks and the 1.4 deployment bonus on her attack. Furthermore, I had to add Nastia's slot bonus of 50% to attack. At first I wasn't sure if it was handled as a deployment bonus or added on top of each hero's basic attack value. So I had to do some more testing to get things like this right, from time to time during my calculations to get the math right. I also didn't initially consider that each debuff applied to the target increases the damage dealt by her faction members by an additional 5% up to 40%. Additionally, her second awakening gives her faction members 5% penetration, which took me a while to realize. The final modifier, if I've got them all now, was the morale set from Ares, which increases damage dealt by 4%. All of this led to this damage formula, where I had to figure out the factor F in front of the attack value and the magic resistance, here shown as MRES, in correlation to the damage dealt. To find the damage formula, we pushed the Abyss 1 Drake into his magic vulnerability phase a few times, and retreated afterwards our heroes that were not necessary for the test, to get a clear view of each damage number and to remove some debuffs and other modifiers. This made the back calculation to 100% damage for each tested attack value easier. Once all unnecessary heroes were retreated, we deployed Kalina and let her attack the boss a few times, and recorded a video of the test for a more relaxed analysis later. For every test, we switched out some gear on Kalina to test the damage numbers correlated with her different attack values. The damage numbers we got first were corrected to 100% damage, as shown previously, to make them comparable to other heroes' damage. Afterwards, the damage numbers were plotted against the different attack values, and the data points were fitted. This gave this damage formula where the factor in front of the attack was also reduced to 0.6, just like in the physical damage formula. The magic resistance here is also subtracted from the attack and has a value of around 8100. This magic resistance was later proven with a more simplified testing setup. We first tested the damage in the magic resistance phase with a 5% penetration lot bonus, and then we tested it by swapping out the lords, Nestia versus Venom, where Venom had no awakening level and therefore no 5% penetration buff to his faction. To get an unmodified 5% damage increase for the magic resistance calculation, I simply subtracted the two observed damage numbers and divided them by 1.1 and 1.4, because of Kalina's basic attack modifier and Ares' morale aura from his gear set respectively. Subsequently, I multiplied the 5% by 20 to get a value by which the damage increases when 100% magic resistance would be penetrated, which is accordingly the magic resistance value. By this I got a value of the magic resistance of 8059, which is close to the magic resistance in the here found damage formula of 8094. I hope the derivation process of both the defense and magical resistance as well as the damage formulas for the physical and magical damage was presented clearly. If not, feel free to ask in the comments. As a result of my calculations and tests with Ian's help, we were able to get the damage formulas for physical and magical damage, as well as the corresponding defense and magic resistance for Abyss 1. If this information was helpful to you, please consider to like and subscribe, and most of all, have a nice day.